I don't.
You are live on YouTube.
June, Lucas, Neil, Viren, Andrew, Darsh, Nama, and Gujarat. Congratulations again. There's a ghost in it. Turn up the lights. All right. Great. Question one. Oh, wait. Other chat. Wait, start that. Let's start that chat. She's going to stop. That's what they're going to do. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to do another check. All right. Question one. One of these phenomena is bound to the west by a system called the Zero Show. Gyre. That is correct. For 6. Disk and Ignore form the false cross asterism alongside Kappa and Delta Volra. This constellation also contains the diamond cross asterism, which is made of stars like Mia Placidus. This constellation includes the homunculus. It's incorrect. That is correct. 4, 5. You have something there. Lucas further 5. Question 3. Walter Ritz proposed a combination principle partly named for this person, who also names a unit of energy equal to about 13.6 electron volts. This person names a formula which, for the hydrogen atoms, states that say it louder. That's correct for 5. 5. For those would be also order that side. Buzzers and also order.
Yeah, it counts down from you, so it's 5, 4, 3, 2. For question 1, who got that one correct? Naman. Okay, yes. Thank you. You got question 1? All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Question 4. A salad process it's calcium channels. That's correct. We're 6. Yes. Do you want to go through this? Lucas 5, Neil 3, Viren 6, Naman 6, and everyone else yet just 1. So it's 6. Good. Okay. All right, on to question 5. In the second book of their most famous work, this person explained that the light reflected from an object is modified by its color. In that same work, this person built a Ptolemy's work concerning binocular vision to coin the term oricoter. This person lends his name to a problem which concerns reflection in a spherical mirror. For the points, name this Islamic mathematician. Take it. That is incorrect. Whose book of objects described the camera of Sarah. Good. That is incorrect. Made him known as the field's father. That's incorrect. All right, they're looking for Ibn al-Haytham. Oh, no, oh, it's around time, but I don't know if it's good. Yes, it's not sure. So that was only it's also what? It was all Al-Hazin and Al-Hazin's problem. All right, question 6. This scientist names a theorem that can be derived using Miller's theorem, and that relates the bending moments to 3 adjacent supports on a horizontal beam. This scientist first stated a combination of several equations. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Including Gay-Lucas's law as the ideal gas law. This scientist is the second namesake of a relation. That is incorrect. Used to calculate the slope of a coexistent term. That's correct. 4, 5. All right, question 7. These structures are connected to each other via pores of cone. That's correct for 6. Question 8. The reagent used in this test is also used in the Fontana-Masson stain to visualize melanin at histology slides. This test is generally applied after Brady's test is used to identify a functional group with a characteristic stretching frequency at 1700 inverse centimeters in IR spec. This test uses a colorless solution of silver nitrate in aqueous ammonia. That's incorrect. Ammonia, which reacts specifically with terminal carbonyls to form a shiny precipitate. That's correct. You're born. All right, question 9. In higher dimensions, this model shows phase transitions between ordered and disordered phases, demonstrated by the Piero's argument. I see one. That's correct for 6. All right, question 10. An increase in either this quantity or age shifts a stellar isochrone to the right. Walter Bade uses this quantity to classify stars in population 1 and 2. That is correct for 6. Quick score check. Archon 6, Lucas 11, Neil 2, Vera 15, Andrew -2, Darsh 2, Naman 2, Bridger -2, and Akash 0. Okay, so perfect. Question 11. One member of this genus causes Pott's disease, which can lead to necrosis of spinal discs. The rapid identification of members of this genus can be performed using an interferon gamma release assay or by staining with an acid-fast stain named for Zeitel and Nielsen. One species in this genus targets macrophages in the alveoli, causing the formation of granulomas and that is correct. Question 12. Heterocyclic compounds can be created using a form of this reaction with inverse electron demands. Pyridines are formed by the also known as glycine. It's incorrect. Modification of this reaction that can form 1, 2, or 1, 4 atoms. Overlap between the homo and the lumo favors a transition state. That is incorrect. State with endoconjugation. That's correct. 5. All right, question 13. This phenomenon could be described by models that consider changes in the thickness of the crust or changes in rock density, which are the area Hykensen and Pratt-Hayford models. Clarence Dutton coined the term for this phenomenon, which was used to explain how different parts of the Earth is incorrect. Have different heights and is responsible for post-glacial rebound. That's correct for 5. Question 14. This process may have occurred during or after the reheating event according to the Atlet-Dine mechanism. Electroweak symmetry breaking and spalaron transition may have contributed to this process, which requires aerodynamic non-equilibrium and CN violation to occur, according to the to two of Skakar-Ovo conditions. For the points, name this hypothesized process that proceeds nucleosynthesis is incorrect. Which attempts to explain an asymmetry in which matter rather than antimatter is more prevalent in the universe. It's incorrect. Prompt. It's incorrect. They're looking for baryogenesis. All right, question 15. Advections cools some of these things called Polish donuts. That is correct, or 6. Question 16. A gradient of these molecules is responsible for most tropisms in the Condini-Wendt model. The anionic form of this class of molecules can be transported across membranes via pin proteins. That's correct. 5. Question 17. In 1924, this scientist first conjectured the existence of tetra. This scientist first conjectured the existence of tetraoxygen to explain why liquid oxygen violates Curry's law. The article, the atom, and the molecule describes a that's incorrect. Describes a theory developed by this scientist, which is called the cubical atom model. This scientist coined the term for photons, and his theory of acid-base reactions models species. That is correct for 5. Question 18. The Ackermann function does not possess the primitive form of this concept, even though it is turning computable. Dynamic programming is an alternative version. That's correct for 6. Question 19. One of these landforms containing the city of Almere is surrounded by a ring of bordering lakes that prevent groundwater in neighboring lands from seeping away. These regions. That is correct for 6. Question 20. This scientist proposed studying the pegiomic Ziramello-Frankel framework in an essay that criticizes Derrida and other postmodernists in a book co-written by Jean Ricamont called Fashionable Nonsense. This physicist discusses his 1996. It's incorrect. Submission of an article titled Trend Progressing the Boundaries towards a Transformative Hermeneutics of Quantum Gravity, which was not subject to peer review. That is incorrect. For the point, what NYU physicist created a scandal when he published a fake article in the journal Social Text prompting questions about intellectual rigor? The answer looking for is Alan Sokal. Alright, Scorchuk at 20, Tab Capone 0, Arjun 6, Lucas 7, Neil 6, Viren 28, Andrew -2, Darsh 0, Nom 13, and Boudreaux 3. Alright, question 21. This scientist created the concept of current algebra and proposed the idea of strangeness to explain kaon and hyperon decay. A set of independent 3x3 matrices spanning the Lie algebra. It's incorrect. Are named for this scientist, those matrices generalize Pauli matrices to 3 groups. In 1961, Yuval Ne'eman and this scientist proposed an 8-way clock. That's correct for question 22. Limits of these things are subject of Doomb's convergence theorems, which can be shown with an upcrossing inequality and a damping augment. When these processes have bounded differences, they satisfy the Azuma coefficient inequality and stop Brownian motion is an example of these processes. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Originally referred to a strategy in which gamblers repeatedly doubled their bet. For the points, name these sequences of random variables which satisfy a rule such that the conditioned expectation of the next value is equal to the current value. Say again. That is incorrect. They're looking for martingales, sir. Alright, question 23. Prior to this 1927 experiment, one of these namesakes worked on similar experiments with Charles H. Kunsmith. This experiment conducted at Western Electric involved firing a beam of solar. That's incorrect. Say again. That's incorrect. Slow-moving electron at a nickel. That's correct. For alright, question 24. This Lau event and the Luddle event, 2 of 3 minor extinctions that occurred during this period. Vascular plants emerged during a revolution named for this and a later period, the 3rd and shortest period of the Paleozoic era. This group saw the diversification of jaw and fish, as well as the terrestrialization of 3 groups of arthropods. For the point, that's incorrect. For the point, name this geological period of the Earth's geological history, which preceded the development. That's correct. For 3. Question 25. This institution is claimed to be the world's most powerful internal confinement fusion device, which is found at its national ignition. That is incorrect. Ignition facility. This institution researches plutonium properties from a complex called the superblock. This institution created the warheads for the Polaris. That's incorrect. Polaris missiles and the element with atomic number 116 is named for this institution. For the that's correct. For alright, question 26. This species has 2 subspecies, one native to the continental mainland and the other native to Principe. And it is the distinguished by red tail feathers, contrasting with otherwise largely monotypic plumage. A specimen of this species, known as griffin, is that's where that is incomplete. Known as griffin is a research subject of MIT biologist Irene Gerber, who named a different former research subject of this species after a learning experiment, or Alex. Adults of this species. That's correct. For all right, question 27. This person names a type of condition allowing a partial differential equation to have a solution on the boundary. With Edward Gorsov, this person names that's correct. For 6. All right, question 28. This adjective names a cooling method or cooling technique in which liquid helium removes heat from a magnocalorimeter. That's correct. For 6. Sorry. Question 29. Rust is used to develop bracken for these programs called brain lift. These programs can carry out a process following the switch to static single assignment form in which static values are computed during sparse conditional constant propagation. These programs are typically designed with a middle end which applies optimization like it's incorrect. Like dead code elimination, while the front end does type checking, flexing, and parsing. For the boys, grammar correction. That's incorrect. Name these programs which translate high-level programming languages. All right, question 30. The length of one of these constructs is related to the length of all sides of a shape in a polynomous theorem, which is an instance of Stewart's theorem. In a triangle, 3 of these line segments intersect at a point. That's correct. For 5. Comes 5, Arjun 6, Lucas 10, Neil 12, Viren 25, Andrew 0, Darsh 8, Naman 10, and Victor 2. All right, on to the last 5 questions. Question 31. Receptors for acetylcholine and this molecule are. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Are antagonized by the neurotoxin strychnine. Though it and proline are rarely found in alpha-6. That's correct. For 6. All right, question 32. In oxides, this quantity is found to be dependent on its value at max 0 and its exponential term per Watchman's formula. In the linear elastic region, this quantity can be computed as tensile stress divided by axial. Say it again. Prompt. Stress tensor. That's incorrect. That's correct. It was connected with this one. Sure. We're not even used to saying. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Dad. Divided by axis straight. Okay, divided by axis. The right number. Or say that's after the thing. Yes, that's To because everyone here gets something maybe class. So these everyone got great. Great job. And that's going to be a complete reading score check. So score check is now. I don't know why you don't have to do it. Okay. And both people submit plus. I'm a trying. Going into the final three questions, we have revisit the accurate. Going to the score checks that doesn't. Yes. That was not. I was going to say it was Accomplished 5, Arjun 6, Lucas 10, Neil 10, Viren 31, Andrew -2, Darsh 8, Naman 8, Rudra 2. Oh, so that's yeah, 2 of that. It has been changed. What is it? So sad. Anyways. So that was amazing. Okay, so like who's going in and needed editing this girl.
Here, I'll message them to stop.
Sometimes. Right, it's the right. Yeah. I will be. We're all from this language and another program is made possible. The tab level interface. And through complying code, this language is done via parameterized statements. This language's syntax allows programs to use by and others. That's correct. For 6. No, wait, sorry, 5. Right. Question 34. Data from the Citizen Science app Snail Snap has shown that this effect has likely caused snail shells to evolve or yellow. Efforts to mitigate this phenomenon include ground-based prompt has mitigation of evolutions. That is incorrect. Root-based albedo modifications such as light colored roofing. Ocean. Croton. One. Croton. Climate change. Croton. Sure, that's pretty good. You can have this operation for a lot. Pollution. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. It's okay. Sorry. That's incorrect. Light color roofing and increased green spaces, the use of asphalt in pavement conditions into this phenomenon. That's correct. Right. For 5. There is one more toss up for that. Yes, we're all done. All right. All right. Final question of this finals. Question 35. The Baritonian stage of this approach was when a middle climate optimum occurred. During this approach, a greenhouse Earth may have been reversed by the Azola event, during which ferns may have formed blooms in the Arctic Ocean. The public eye impact structure might be looked to be grand super extinction that occurred between this approach and Oleocene. Say it again. I'm sorry to say it one more time. So let's fully close the door, please. That is incorrect. Yes, close. That's incorrect. Might be linked to the grand cure extinction. We still see. That's incorrect. That occurred. Anyway. For the points made in the second episode of the Paleogene period, whose name refers references the new dawn of many animals. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. They're looking for Eocene as the answer. Wait, that is the third and final question.
Well, so slide, please.
There, great tide, perfect tide between dark and Arthur and Neil. So I'm going to read a toss-up. If you only for this first one, only Kiss and Dark can buzz it. Please close the door.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Neil and Dark, are you ready? Wait, Neil, Lucas and Dark. Lucas and Dark. Sorry, reading his heart. Lucas and Dark, are you ready? Okay. This structure was encased in a cube-shaped balloon and is used spending eggs, which were uranium cylinders that were placed in graphite holes. Arthur Compton declared the Italian navigator has landed in the New World. On the success of this structure, which was moved to Site A from its original location at Stag Field, created in 1942 led by Enrico. Say it again. That's incorrect. Enrico Fermi, for the point, named this first artificial nuclear reactor, which was built in Illinois. Let's go right. Question. This tough term. The natural logarithm of the ratio of initial and final values of this quantity appeared in the ideal rocket equation. The standard gravitational parameter is equal to the product of this quantity and a constant symbolized with the capital letter G. Two values of this quantity are multiplied together with the gravitational constant, then divided by the square of the distance in this law. Correct. Newton's law of universal gravitation. For the point, name this quantity which is multiplied by acceleration and found to be equal to net force in Newton's second law of motion. It's correct. And congratulations.